I mean, I think the birth of the startup industry, because the startup industry was the birth of content marketing, right? Like,
Oh,
you
wow.
know,
That's a good one.
so I think like WordPress, Blogger, all those really old platforms. And I mean, everyone uses WordPress now, but like Blogger and like those really, really old blogging platforms that folks used before blogging was a content marketing strategy where like there were individual bloggers but like like the invention of blogs and SaaS companies, I think those two things really stand out to me. And then probably like, the birth of like Twitter and some of those other
Yeah.
like Twitter and Facebook, really, those were big moments. Those were big moments for me. Like I remember sitting in this big open office at this little startup called SpringPad. Like didn't know what I was doing. And like I remember just like talking to people on Twitter for my job. And like that was really important. And like, it's like that was, so I think those three things are really big milestones. It's like the blog platform.
Birth of startup. What would be the first one according to you? Just I'm curious. Nothing
Oh
to do.
gosh. I mean, I don't know. Like I'm really bad at dates too. So like
No, not really a date, but a name of startups, because birth of startup, I remember in France, the start of Amazon. I was in a business school, and I was like,
That's a good
a
one.
guy came and said, I want to launch the French Amazon. It was really the early days of Amazon. So that's, if you ask me, I don't know if Amazon could ever be considered as a startup or even Google, but I think those are the two I would quote. But I was curious.
I would
You,
think of like Apple and Microsoft. Like I don't think those are really good examples, but like to me, those are like the original, like, it's like the original kind of like, it doesn't perfectly map to their actual history, but like that's the thing that I think about is like they're these like, I don't know, especially Steve Jobs, right? He's like this guy who's like kind of a pain in the ass and like has this big idea and is really like fussy about it and ends up getting fired and comes back. Like he's a superhero and he like revolutionizes everything. Like that's a SaaS founder these days. Like they're so hard to deal with and they're so smart. And you're like, okay, like